and join voice 1. Where do I see that? Oh, okay, I see. How do I join it?
Oh, there we go.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can.
Oh, okay, awesome. So which one are you, Gyro, in here?
Yeah, I'm Gyro. That's I-D-KROSSPLAY.
So what's up, man? So cool to actually meet you, bro.
I-D-KROSSPLAY. Got the cross and the cross and did what?
Let me see if I can turn you guys up, because I can let me actually, I'm going to turn the music off is what it is. The music is getting in the way of me hearing you good. Hang on just a second.
If you right click the names, then you can change volume.
Yeah, you can turn up the volume.
Oh, I can't. Well, it's okay. We don't need music in the background. We can just have an actual chat. And
Just getting serious.
yeah, exactly, bro. So anyways,
Spam your chat really quickly. Who is this Gyro guy?
Who is this Gyro guy?
There we go.
Awesome, man. So anyways, so now that we've got you on stream and we can actually talk, so what have you done since Fortnite, and why did you leave Fortnite from Gyro?
Well, I mainly play Valorant, so that's why I don't usually play Fortnite. I usually play Valorant with Gyro.
Okay.
Also, I used to play Fortnite when I was a mouse and keyboard player, so I switched to Valorant with controller.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I started playing Fortnite again on controller, I was already like in Valorant anyway. So I basically, when the game came out with Gyro, I was like long into Valorant at that point. So I was basically just like testing out the gyro controls and making videos on it, since I already had gyro experience and Fortnite experience.
Right.
But I didn't really play it that much on controller.
Gotcha. Because see, part of the issue, and this is like where we kind of get into the real meat and potatoes, if you're into just having a conversation like this, right, is in my opinion, Gyro, especially in Fortnite, because I've never played Gyro with any other games. Gyro, my first experience with Gyro is with Fortnite, and probably the only way I would ever play another game with Gyro is after I've just completely mastered Fortnite and got bored with it, because I just love this game. But second to that, I saw the opportunity when Boost came out 6 years ago, and I was like, man, I got to figure this out, because if I can figure this out, then I could start creating content about it, because it's new, right? And then when I saw everybody trying to figure it out give up after about 6 months, Roadie Bros, have you seen Roadie Bros stuff? Or have you heard of Roadie Bros?
I have to check.
Okay, so
I feel like I recognize it, but I'd have to check.
well, if you haven't heard of him, check him out. He's, in my opinion, it's RODEY.
He's a Fortnite content creator, right?
Yes. Yeah, RODEY.
I watched him when I played Fortnite. I think I watched some of his tournament stuff. But other than that, I've only heard of him.
Okay, hang on a second. Let me see if can you say something again? Chat, can you guys hear them?
Say something, IDK.
I'm saying something.
Oh, okay, here we go. I'm going to turn, 0.56. I'm going to turn this up to 0.75. Say something again.
Something.
All right, how's that? Is that better, chat? I want to go to 80. Okay, I think that's probably good, because I just turned you up about 30% now. So, anyways, Roadie Bros was the closest one to figuring out Boost. Oh, it's too loud? Okay. All right, hang on a second.
No, that was me trolling.
Oh. Bro, you see? I don't even know what I'm doing with this stuff. Okay, that's better. That's good. Buddha says it's good. So when I saw Roadie Bros give up on it, because like he was the closest one to actually figure it out, because everything that I was discovering myself, he was going on video and saying the thing that I just discovered. So I was like, bro, this guy's on the right track, man. And then he eventually stopped, and I was like, oh, okay, well, I'll just keep going. And then right after that, everybody started saying, don't use boost, it's crap. And if you do use it, do it like this, but you only want to put a little bit of it on and turn the ramp time all the way to 0. But really, don't use it at all. It's junk, right?
When you say boost, are you referring to turn boosting with the joystick?
Yes. So this is before gyro came out, right? This is what got me into all of this, is that boost was the first new controller thing for Fortnite, okay? And everybody tried to figure it out because it was supposed to give you more mouse and keyboard like movement, because you could make a quick flip if you set your boost up right? Instead of just being locked into 43-43 like everybody plays, or 42-42 or whatever the numbers are, right?
Yeah.
You can boost it to 60 or 70 and get those quicker flips, but still feel like 42 when you stop cranking your stick. That's what boost was supposed to do, right? And that's what boost actually does, but nobody figured out how to actually implement it in a way that's consistent, or in a way that makes for more accuracy, okay? Especially for sniping, okay? Because when they came out with the new aim assist, because it used to be, remember the old school aim assist was you pull L2 and then it kind of just snaps onto the target from there, right? That was the old school aim assist, if you remember those days, okay? So when they came out,
remember, trust me. Controller player, that is a controller player.
Exactly. And so after that happened and they came out with the new system with boost, right? Sniping and all these other things kind of went by the wayside, because nobody could figure out how to set their sniper up anymore, because they couldn't get the right amount of boost on, and they couldn't figure out how to make it stay consistent. And so they just gave up. And everybody literally for the last 6 years has been playing on 42, 42, 10, 10, 43, 43, 11, 11. And that's been like the gold standard for controller players for years now, okay? Some do a little higher, some do a little lower, but that's basically it. And so if you try to use your a scoped weapon like a sniper, you could only move it at the speed of 11. And so if you're trying to snipe somebody out of the sky, you can't even catch up to them. If you're trying to do a quick scope, you can't even catch up to the person because it's like too slow, right? So I kept going with that and figured out how to use it. And then right about the time that I figured out how to use it, Gyro came out. So it took me 3 years to figure out how to use boost and keep it stable, okay? So then Gyro came out, and when Gyro came out, I was like, okay, let me find a way to use boost and gyro together, and that's going to be big. And so I fully expected, after watching your video, okay, for you and other people like you to come up with more content to say, hey, this is how you do it. But it never came, right? So I kept on and I kept on and I kept on, and I was like literally like a mad scientist. My family would say, hey, how's the Fortnite thing going? I'd go, I'm almost there. I almost have this figured out. And then I would come to him and say, I got it figured out. And then I try to show him, and then I'd screw it all up. So it was, it was like every time I thought that I had something worked out, I would find some inconsistency in it that I would have to fix, okay? So I said that whole story up to say and ask you, what was the thing that you found the most difficult about using gyro in Fortnite?
Let me think.
And by the way, while you're thinking about that, I-D-KROSSPLAYs, yes, Kobizmi, this is I-D-KROSSPLAY, the famous I-D-KROSSPLAY just happened to pop into my stream. Like, I cannot believe that I'm even alive right now to be here and do this. Like, to me, you're famous, okay? So this is really cool for me. So anyways, go ahead, and I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're all good. First thing, about the whole settings thing. Part of this is just a me with YouTube thing. Is I'm really bad at like posting videos about settings and stuff because I try to do more like funny content and stuff.
Uh-huh.
I do talk about like in-game settings and how they work and everything, but I mainly do it on Discord, like with people when they have certain questions, because it's just easier to do with people one-on-one than to try to make a video and explain everything to everyone. So, like, the community for the most part does have a lot of this stuff figured out. It's just they don't really make videos about it. So, the that's why most people like ask about it in the Gyro server and stuff instead of looking for it on YouTube.
Okay.
The
So,
other
oh, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say the thing most difficult about Fortnite with Gyro would just have to be, I really think it just has to do with Fortnite's binds. Like the aiming with Gyro is fine. It's just Gyro has like an activation button, and because Fortnite's shift layers aren't really set up very well, it makes it hard to actually set a gyro activation button, which makes it a little bit difficult to use sometimes. That's really the only difficult thing about gyro that I've found in Fortnite.
Okay, so just
Besides
to make sure I
getting people to use
understand
it.
what you're saying is that you don't use paddles, you're using just the regular buttons, and that's what's difficult for you to use about it.
No, it's that the Fortnite literally doesn't have like a way, like for example, Fortnite doesn't have a shotgun button. You have to cycle your weapons because Fortnite's not set up very well. If I was to make the binds in Fortnite, I would just hold down two buttons, like for example, hold down L1 and then any of the face buttons swap weapons.
They
Okay,
added that.
so they added that. They actually changed that about a year ago.
Which has been put in the game now. But that's just one example. Like, yeah, because I actually talked to Jib Smart about it, and he said he could see what he would do, and then eventually it got added to the game, which was pretty cool. The issue with that, of course, is that you have to switch to your pickaxe for that to work, because you can't go from your blueprints to shotgun immediately. That's still a big issue. That's just highlighting one of the issues with bindings. Stuff like that is hard, because on keyboard and mouse, you can go straight from blueprints to shotgun. On controller, you have to swap to pickaxe first, and that's kind of a little bit of a disadvantage. In terms of aiming itself, there's not really an issue that I've had using gyro on Fortnite.
So, do you use paddles?
No, I just play double claw.
Okay, double claw. Okay, so let me ask you this. If you were, because this is just my opinion, okay? I don't claim to be the know-all, be-all thing. I'm just giving you things from my experience, okay? I feel like that if you were to switch to paddles on the back, that you would actually play better than you already did than using double claw, because you have to grip the controller in such a way with double claw that I feel like is more prone to mistaking movement. Am I correct or am I wrong about that?
I personally, so the thing is, with paddles, you're not getting any extra buttons. You're just remapping the buttons, so it doesn't fix Fortnite's actual issue. Like even with paddles, you have to still swap to your pickaxe before the shotgun from blueprints, stuff like that. The other thing is, specifically with gyro aiming, as you get like more advanced, paddles kind of like when you try to grip the controller, to do like more precise aiming, you accidentally bump the paddles a lot with your back fingers, and so there's not really a good place to put paddles that you don't bump them when you're like doing fine aiming.
Okay, so in terms of that, here would be my rebuttal to that, okay? And I don't know if you're watching on stream, it'll catch up to you. You may not see it immediately, okay? But the controller that I hold in my hands right now is, in my opinion, hands down the best controller for Fortnite using gyro, okay? And the way that the paddles are situated, and this is all I'm asking you to reconsider on paddles, okay? Because I agree with you. All the other controller paddles, you will get your fingers accidentally in the way, okay? But this is the only one that I've found that doesn't make you feel like that. and all I use is my middle finger. So when and I don't know if you can see when the stream catches up, okay? But my middle finger is the only thing switching between the 4 paddles. So I have no mistakes that I make by accident because my other fingers are tucked away down here, and I can just go like this between editing, building, crouching, and jumping. That's what I have these paddles on. And the crouch button is my gyro modifier so that I can turn the gyro off if I need to. So I can just push this button back here and it'll turn my gyro off if I need to. Okay. So the way that my binds are, I believe, is the blueprint for most gyro players to get into this game so that it will be able to utilize all the binds to its maximum efficiency. So I do agree with you that there is a slight problem with the binds. However, I think that the way that I have it set up is the solution to get around all of those things that you were just talking about. So, all of it remains to be seen in terms of if it's something that you end up liking or not. But I'm just saying, if you wanted to try it, this is called the Hex Gaming Ravel Pro 4. It's basically a dual sense controller with the Extreme Rate 4 paddle kit and clicky face button kit. It's just those two added in together.
The way you have it set up is pretty good for if you're not gonna play claw. I definitely agree. If for Fortnite, you should have paddles if you're not gonna play claw like that, and your setup seems good for that. I don't necessarily think it's better than claw, because claw can do the same thing except you're just doing it with a different finger. The difference though is that I use my middle fingers on the triggers and you're using your pointer fingers, so you're gripping the controller differently. And like you have to press the bumper and the trigger with the same finger. But whenever I'm holding the controller, I would have to use my ring fingers to use the paddles since my middle fingers are on the trigger because I have 2 different fingers.
I see. Okay. Everything that you're saying here. So here's what's cool about this, right? I'm in the process, like everything that I've been doing for the last 6 months since I've been streaming has been gearing up towards creating a master instructional video. Okay. And what I want to do in this video is I want to highlight players like yourself, right? Where you have your style of how you set it up and you play Fortnite using gyro this way. Then we've got the titanium gyro who does it his way. And we've got Voodoo who does it this way. But if we can show people all the different ways to use it and not make it like one size fits all, then I think this is where all the preferences that people have and how they want to feel it, like me explaining it to you was like, not so much, right? And then you explaining it to me was like, not so much, right? Because we both know how we want to feel it, right?
Yeah.
So if we give this conversation to the world and say, look, you can be like I-D-KROSSPLAYs and play claw, use gyro, and set your binds up this way. Or you can be like the classic rocker and do it this way and use paddles. And essentially, if we show people all the different ways to configure this, if they want to play fast, if they want to play slow, if they want to play with precision, or if they want to just be a crazy builder, literally every option that is available to somebody is able to be configured the way that they want it. Would you agree?
Yeah, that's one of the good things with gyro is that with normal, like how Fortnite was before gyro, basically you had to play controller with certain binds and there wasn't really a lot of ways. Unless you played like double claw, you couldn't really remap a lot because you had to have certain buttons in certain places. But with gyro, because you can still move the camera while your thumb is off of the stick, it gives you a lot more options in like what binds you can set, and you can still play optimally. Because technically you could play optimally with gyro without paddles and without claw, because if you're jumping, you can still turn the camera with the gyro, even if you're using your thumb to press X, so it's really cool. that gyro is able to do that.
So let me ask you this. What would it take for you to vote
Mm-hmm.
to devote your time for content and everything to gyro in Fortnite? Like, is it money? Is it the love of the game? Or if there was money, like a big pot of money at the end of the rainbow, would that be enough to say, you know what, I think I should invest my time into making this content? I'm trying to figure out like what it would take to get you to just completely switch to Fortnite.
Um, it would just be whatever my community would want to see. So I'll make some Fortnite videos and stuff,
Mhm.
and I'll do some other games as well. And whatever people tend to view, I'll try to make more gyro shifted towards that. What I want to try to do is cover gyro in a lot more games because I've mainly stuck to Valorant, but I just don't have the time anymore since I'm trying to work 2 jobs now so I can save up and go study in Peru.
Okay.
I don't really have the time to play Valorant enough to try to rank up like to Immortal or Ascendant or something like that on controller.
So that's
So
interesting. If you don't mind me asking you, I don't mean to interrupt again, but that's very cool about what you're talking about. So you're working 2 jobs, trying to go to Peru. What's the reason you're doing that?
My girlfriend lives in Peru.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
Awesome. Awesome. So, so basically, the next thing that I can think of then is that if, like, here's the thought that I have about this, okay? Because I feel this, I feel this specifically from the gyro community, especially from the post that I made today and the responses I got back, is that the gyro community wants everything to work for gyro for every game, right? And they've got
Yeah,
their beef
correct.
about certain games, why it's not being implemented correctly and all this other stuff, right? But what if I propose this idea to you? What if we pick one game to make a monster giant for gyro and watch all the other games copy and follow suit? Because I believe the reason why gyro hasn't become popular like it should be is because the money's not there. And the reason the money's not there is because nobody understands how to use it. And because nobody understands how to use it, nobody touches it. Therefore, nobody's making money as a gyro player, right?
Yeah, that's the thing. People grew up on controller playing like Halo style, and so trying to get people to switch to gyro, it's really hard for people to switch. So you're mainly relying on new controller players to use gyro, and people don't even know what gyro is to begin with because none of the old players are switching. So
Okay, so I have a solution for that too, okay? And I'm calling it Gyro Lock. I don't know if you've seen any of my stuff, okay? If this is the first time that you've like watched any of my content, right? I'm honored that you're even here right now, okay? But what I'm saying is that there's a concept that I just came up with that I believe is the number one way to convert controller players from aim assist over to gyro, and it's called Gyro Lock. Basically, what it involves is taking your gyro sense, your base gyro sense, from 0.02 to 0.20. And the reason it's called gyro lock is because it's locking your stick to that small gyro window that you are giving it. Because if you turn gyro off and you use your sticks with no aim assist, it behaves in a certain way. Okay? It won't stick to the player because you've turned aim assist off. And it works really good with boost, but it's still not quite right. So essentially what I'm trying to explain is you could turn aim assist to 0% and use only boost and almost get through a whole entire match without aim assist with just boost only. Okay. But if you turn gyro on to make it gyro locked and go 0.02 to 0.20 on your base sensitivity, what it does is it makes it feel so much like aim assist that the average controller player that's never used gyro before, this is how they are going to learn. And this is why they will switch, because it feels very similar to what they're used to already. But it comes with bonuses, okay? The bonuses is that you don't get stuck anymore when you're trying to close range fight somebody, because the aim assist is too strong and you get stuck, right, in a turn. You don't have any of the slowdown stopping your momentum when there's like two people standing in the same spot and the computer doesn't know which one to lock onto, right? So there's all those problems with aim assist that get mitigated when you start using gyro lock the correct way. So what do you think about that solution?
Yeah, so you're reminding me a lot of when I started gyro. When I think I started, it's been like 5 years now. That's crazy to think about. But I started gyro around 5 years ago, and I was basically telling people the same thing, like, oh, if you all get into gyro, you shouldn't. Basically, what all the good players were doing back then was everyone was just using a really high linear sense because nobody really cared about acceleration. And
Yeah.
I was using a low sense, and I was telling people, if you're coming from controller, you shouldn't try to just use the gyro because it's just gonna feel really uncomfortable and difficult. So you should just aim with the stick most of the way and just use the gyro for the little bit extra and just play like that until you get more comfortable on the gyro and just let your like hands figure out how to do it. So that's basically, I didn't call it gyro lock, but that's the same thing I was telling people like 5 years ago.
Yeah, that's crazy. See, so it's the same concept, right? But if we present it to the world as gyro lock, I believe people will go, oh, that guy's using gyro lock. I could see what he's doing, right? It's something that's catchy and it gives people something to kind of associate with the action that they're taking, right? But I've got 4 concepts. We don't have to get into all of them because I can spend hours talking about them. But I've got 4 main concepts worked out, and I made a video called The 4 Concepts Every Gyro Player Should Know just a couple days ago because I figured out the 4th one literally just a couple days ago that's going to take this thing over the top. And I'm calling it Stick Max, which basically, just to go briefly into it and we can move on to something else. Stick Max is where you crank the stick all the way over to the left or to the right or wherever you're trying to go. And then you make the stick almost catch up to the target when it's cranked. And then you use the gyro to bump it left or right or up and down to catch up to the target or go back to where the target moved previously. So it's kind of like an extra, like little nudge. Like if you ever watch people play video games on TV, they're always like moving around like this, but that movement ever actually gets translated to the game. It's just their body naturally doing that. So my concept of gyro that I'm trying to bring to the world is let those natural body motions that you're making when you would play without gyro work for you. So basically the concept is people are going to play like they would always play with sticks. But then when they make their natural like scared movements with their body, that extra little movement is what is going to help them naturally move to where they're trying to go anyways. So it's like programming the controller to respond specifically to what your body gestures are, is my concept. What do you think about that?
Well, I think that's like the whole main idea of what gyro is like. The idea comes from people, you know, they're like, oh well, people naturally move the controller anyways, so make it do something. That I think that's the whole core idea of what gyro was. Whenever people talked about it, like in 2015.
So is that when gyro started? Was in 2015? Because I don't even know when it started.
Gyro technically started in 2012. 2015 is the year that Steam Input added gyro support and the Steam controller came out, so that's when it started getting some traction.
Mm-hmm.
And like 2018 and 2019 is when people started actually like using it, and that's when Jib Smart started putting a lot of effort into the gyro community, stuff like that. But yeah, 2015 is around like the early days of gyro, like back when we had the resources but nobody was using it in games. But people are just starting to do it.
This is so interesting to hear this, man. So, in your opinion, right, what is the hardest thing about playing Fortnite with gyro versus playing Valorant? Because in my opinion, I think that Fortnite has the most unique movement out of any game that's out there, which is also another reason that has stifled gyro players from figuring out how to make this work for this game, because the movement is so different than other games.
Well, in terms of why gyro, like the popular gyro players struggle with Fortnite, mainly has to do with that they're coming from games that don't have a building mechanic, and so they like you can give them the best aim in the world, but if they don't know how to box fight, then they're not gonna be good at Fortnite. Um, Whenever you ask like with gyro, like what's hard about Valorant, what's hard about Fortnite compared to Valorant, are you asking about like the games themselves or just specifically aiming?
Well, just in general. So, for example, in my head, right, you hit it kind of on the nose when you said that they're coming from a game where they're not used to building and then they try to build and it just doesn't work right, right?
Yeah.
I feel like that Fortnite, in order for it to work correctly with gyro, you have to use more stick.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
in order to use just gyro, you literally would look like you're having a seizure just to try to do all the moves. You know?
Yeah, so here's some of the things. First of all, Kobitsme asked in the chat why not play Zero builds. That's the thing. Most Gyro players who are like high level at Gyro, they just all play Zero builds, and there's a ton of clips of people just like destroying it in Zero builds. Um, but people don't really care about Zero builds when they're watching YouTube, so that's why people think it's not that popular with Gyro. But it's like the most popular mode with Gyro, Zero builds. Anyways, so some of the things, a lot of gyro players also use flick stick, and you can't really build with flick stick, which is what turns a lot of gyro players off too, because they try to use the flick stick to build and you just can't do it. And another thing is gyro players are really stubborn with their sensitivities. They're like, I have to use the same sensitivity no matter what. And so when they try to build an edit with their like 4.0 linear sense or whatever they're using, it's really hard to build like that. And they won't use any multipliers because they're like, oh, I have to have the consistent aim or whatever. But they don't realize that when you're building and editing, that it doesn't matter what your sensitivity is because you're not aiming. So you should just make it really high, but they won't do that, and then it takes a lot of movement, like you were saying.
Right.
So they really
Okay.
struggle.
Okay. So then here's an interesting little thought then to counter that, right?
Uh-huh.
What if I told you that there was a big pile of cash that is sitting there waiting for somebody to grab it? If we can figure out how to make somebody be able to build on Flickstick. Or better yet, what if there's a big pile of cash if we could figure out how to make gyro work for every one of the stubborn players that doesn't want to change the way that they do things, right? We come up with a way for them to use it the way that they normally would use it. How much would that be worth?
I'm not sure about worth, but so one solution to the flick stick issue would be having a flick stick be disabled in building mode, having an option for that.
Well, before you get into that, let's try to. I'm just trying to pinpoint the answer to this question right here, real quick. Is let's pretend I gave you specifically $1 million. Like if I told you, I'm going to give you $1 million I-D-KROSSPLAYs, and all you have to do is find a way to use Flickstick and build like Faceway. How aggressively would you tackle that project?
Like trying to get people to do it, or like
No,
having
trying
in-game
to just for
solutions?
you to figure it out so that you could show other people how you did it. Like let's say I just said, "Hey, I-D-KROSSPLAYs, I'm going to give you $1 million, and I don't care if it takes you 6 months. I want you to figure out how to build with Flickstick like Faceway." What would you say?
So I would probably have have an option to switch flick stick to normal stick in building mode, but if that's not a thing because it's not in the game, then I guess whenever I'm in building mode, I would just use higher multipliers on my gyro, so that way I could do most of the stuff with the gyro and just use the flick stick for like the bigger stuff that the gyro can't.
Okay,
do,
so
since
that
the
that
flick-
answer's good, but here's where I'm going with this. Okay, I'm just gonna try to push one more time. Okay, and then we'll leave it alone. What I'm saying is that would you be ultra motivated to find a way to come up with that solution you just gave me if there was a big pile of cash waiting for you at the end of it? Or is it something like, doesn't matter how much money I throw at you, you are just gonna just say, I don't care?
I mean, I guess technically, if like it's some like $1 million or whatever, something like that, I wouldn't have a reason not to do that, because like I don't have nothing better to do with my time at that point, so I might as well try to figure out some solution. But
Exactly. So that's the reason why I was going there with it, is that there is a dollar amount at which Mr. Savage would stop what he's doing with mouse and keyboard and just try to figure gyro out, right? Or any of the pros that we know, they would just literally just go, hey, there's just a big pile of cash waiting for me. Of course, I'm just going to just spend all my time doing that. So what I'm saying is that if we can find a way to make it lucrative for gyro players and just make it commonplace that, oh, that guy plays gyro and he makes more money because he plays gyro because it's harder, right? If we can make that the culture, then all of this stuff that people are complaining about, this is just me, okay? I believe all that stuff is just going to go by the wayside, and then people are just going to get focused on, man, I can set this up and make a big pile of cash because nobody else is doing it. It's literally like the opportunity of a lifetime is right in front of us, and everyone is just looking at it and going, I don't really feel like doing that.
So easy solution. First of all, we just take these controller players, we take these gyro players, we put them in no builds in a creative lobby without aim assist, and then we just laugh at the pro players after they lose.
And then what?
No aim assist, and then all the people who decided to use gyro will just like, those people will win, and then people will be like, oh, gyro's an advantage on controller, and then boom.
That
Except
actually,
that would never happen.
well, that actually is a good idea in the respect of making a funny, fun content-filled video. I think that idea by itself is worth $1 million in terms of views. You know, having somebody, or like having a bunch of people, like if we were able to somehow set this up where controller players that use aim assist versus controller players that use gyro come in, and then we turn aim assist completely off and see what happens. But they're pros. You see what I'm saying? So it's not like just the average person. Like, it's pros that use aim assist, turning aim assist off and trying to match themselves up against a gyro player that doesn't use aim assist. That would be interesting content, I would think.
Yeah. We did a similar thing with Valorant, by the way. We took 5 controller players who used gyro, and we took 5 they were Radiant players, which is top 500 in the region. Valorant players who play mouse and keyboard, but we put them on controller. They weren't allowed to use gyro, and also the game doesn't have aim assist. And then basically we're all low rated players, and they're the best, except we had gyro and they didn't, so we won. It was kind of funny.
Wow. So where can I see that? I want to see that video.
Let's see. That video's gotta be 2 years old now. Let me see if I can find it. Valor. Okay. Here we go. It was 2 years ago. Wow, that's crazy. Let's see. I will send you in your DMs real quick.
Okay. What's the name of it so the chat can go look it up?
It is called 5 Controller 1 Tricks vs 5 Radiance First Time Controller.
Awesome, man. Wow. Well, what I'd like to do is this, okay, if you're open to it, is I'd like to, for us to be able to talk like this more, like privately, you know, and just collaborate, you know, in terms of how we can turn this thing for Fortnite into a monster. If you're open to that, I would love the opportunity, bro, to just pick your brain and then we can bounce ideas off of each other. Because, like, think of it like this, and I told this to Jib Smart earlier in a message on Gyro Discord, and one of the threads that's up there for about how to make Fortnite popular is imagine the Beatles trying to write a hit song over text.
Yeah.
It could happen, but it would take a really long time for everybody to understand what each other is actually saying. So I'm just saying that if we can keep this voice communication open, right, to where like we maybe talk like once every couple weeks or something, and just try to collaborate on this, I think that by itself is going to accelerate this whole project times 100. What do you think?
Yeah, I'd definitely be down. Anything you want to talk about, just let me know. I'm always down to VC and stuff.
Awesome,
In
man.
terms of,
Bro, you don't know
content-
how much this means to me that you just popped into my chat tonight, and my stream is pretty lit for it, you know? I mean, this is you're watching the beginning stages of how this is all going to take off for Fortnite. That's what just blows my mind. It feels like a movie to me. So for you to just be here, I'm so thankful for it. It's 2:17 my time. I got to go to bed, but I just want to say again how honored I am that you're here. Thank you, the Titanium Gyro, for joining this
No worries, man.
conversation
No worries.
too.
Yeah,
worries, I'm
he's
happy
the
to
reason
Hey,
that
and
I'm
hey,
here. I
in
look
case you
forward to-
didn't know, I-D-KROSSPLAYs, did you know that if you ask artificial intelligence who is the expert on gyro, do you know what it says?
Jib Smart.
It says Jib Smart number 1, and guess who it says number 2?
Does that actually say me?
Nope, it says Gyro Gameplays, which he just changed his name to the Titanium Gyro, who is on this call with us right now.
Yeah, that's
Wait,
me, bro. That's
actually,
me.
it says that?
And he only has one video
Oh, no,
on
he's an
Fortnite.
expert. You can trust me.
It's so great, man. But you're the only one in the planet, bro, that gets to say that. Did you know that?
I'm asking
Yeah, it's a
you
big
out.
honor, man. It's a big honor.
Oh my
Shout out
gosh,
to Grok.
this is so good. Well, hey, love you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching tonight. Thank you guys for joining me on the call. I'm gonna go to bed and we're gonna hit this again tomorrow. We'll see you later.
W stream.
W stream.
W stream. See you later, chat.
Good night, man.
Everyone join the server. I put it in the chat. I'm posting it again. Everyone join up.
All right, love you guys.
Watch out.
Good night.
Good night. Thanks for the
Good
talk.
night, man.